Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome to our mathematics class. Now, before we introduce the mathematics class for today, I want you to think about something that you have experienced in your everyday life. Okay, now you imagine that you at a school event where a mathematical club selling stationery. There is a notebook and pens are available for students to buy. However, there is a problem. The individual prices are not displayed. Instead, the seller gives you some information about the two purchases. Here is the first piece of information. Three notebooks and two pens cost Rm 16. And leave the second one. Two notebook and three pen cost Rm 14. Now, if I ask you immediately how much the one notebook costs and how much the one pen costs, you might say, Teacher, I don't have enough information yet. Hmm. And that is exactly what makes this an interesting mathematical problem. We actually have enough information. We just need to represent it mathematically. Today we are going to discover how simultaneous equation can help us to solve real life situation.
Before we start calculating, let's understand what we are trying to achieve today. When we meet a real life mathematical problem, we should not immediately start writing numbers and performing calculations. A good problem solver asks first is, what do you I know? What don't I know? So how I can present what I don't know mathematically. So today we follow the thinking process. By end of our lessons, you should be able to know, identify the form equations and apply the eliminations methods and interpret verify our solutions. We are not going to stop once we get the value of the x and y. We also need to explain what those value means in real life situations and check whether our answer is correctly. Okay, let's begin with the cue thinking activity. Look at our stationary problem. Don't worry about it. We can solve it. Okay, just think about this. What are the two things that we don't know? Let's imagine that I can see the some responses. I would like to expect you identify the price of one notebook and price of one pen. So now that we know what is the unknown and we can represent those quantities using the variable.
Let's slow down here because this is actually an important step. Sometimes when students see the word problem, they directly jump to the calculation. But if we define the variable incorrect, the following step also become incorrect. So let's make a define clear. I will let x equal to price of one notebook and y equal to price of one pen. Okay. Now let's connect those symbols into actual situation. If one notebook costs X ringgit, what will three notebook cost? Yes, is 3x. Please don't mind my writing. Okay, because we have three notebook and each notebook costs X. So 3 times X equal to 3x. Now, if 1 pen costs Y ringgit, what will 2 pen cost? Correct. It's 2Y because 2 times Y equal to 2Y. Alright, now let's use the first statement. 3 notebook plus 2 pen cost Rm16. We just established that 3 notebook cost 3x and 2 pens cost 2y. So the total cost is 3x plus 2y equal to 16. Notice how we did simply guess the equation. We translate each part and real-life information into mathematics.
Let's use exactly the same reasoning of the second statement. 2 notebook and 3 pens cost are Rm14s. Before I write the equations, I want you think about the each parts. So 2 notebook cost is what? 2x. So the 3 pens cost 3y. So the total cost is Rm14. Good. So our second equation is 2x plus 3y equals to Rm14. So Rm no need to write lah. So now let's step back look at the next. So our real life situations has now become the two mathematicals. Okay. First equation is 3x plus 2y equals to 16. The second equation is 2x plus 3y equals to 14. So this is the power of mathematical modeling. So we start with the notebooks and pen by the defining the variables and forming equations. We have to transform the real life problem into the mathematical problems. So we can solve it lah. So the next questions, how we solve these two equations. Okay, there are different ways to solve simulational equations. For today's problem, we are going to use eliminational methods. So, before I show you the procedure, let's understand the idea behind the word of the eliminations. At the moment, we have to know unknowns that x and y is the variables. If we make it of the one this variable disappear, we will to be left within the equations containing only. So one unknown and equations with one unknown is much easier to solve. So our goal is eliminate one variable. Let's look at the y terms. So the first equation is 2y. The second equation is 3y. So their nodes are the equals. So we cannot eliminate y yet. Okay, now think about the number 2 and 3. Okay, what number can both of them become? Yes, 6. How do we make it 2 into the 6? We can multiply by 3. How become the make 3 into the 6? Multiply by 2. So there we going to multiply the first equations by 3 and the second equations by 2. So Here we can notice that we are not choosing them randomly, but we are choosing them because our mathematical goal is create equal confidence of y.
Okay, now let's perform the calculation carefully. I want us to take this one step at a time because algebraic accuracy is important. Our first equation is 3x plus 2y equals to 16, right? So we want to multiply the entire equation by 3. So we write 3x, 3 in bracket we put 3x plus 2y equals to, it's supposed to be not 16, it's supposed to be 3 in bracket 16. Okay, now what does multiplying the entire equation by 3 means? It means that the 3 must multiply every term. Let's do each part separately. First, 3 multiply 3x equal to 9x. Next, 3 multiplied by 2y equal to 6y. And finally, 3 multiply 16 equals to 48. So our new equation is 9x plus 6y equals to 48.
Now, let's apply the same reasoning of our second method. Okay, our second equation is 2x plus 3y equals to 14. So we want to the combinationals of the y equals to 6. So we multiply the entire equation by 2. So that gives us a 2 bracket 2x plus 3y equals to 2 bracket 14. Okay, let's recalculate. So 2 times 2x equals to 4x. So 2 times 3y equals to 6y. So 2 times 14 equals to 28. So the final equations become the 4x plus 6y equals to 28. Okay, now look at our two new equations. 9x plus 6y equals to 48. 5x plus 6y equals to 28. So, from this, what we achieve? Can anyone? Yes, the combination of the y are the same ready. So, that means we can eliminate the y. Okay, now should we add or subtract these two equations? Let's think carefully. If we minus 6y minus 6y is equals to 0. So y disappears. So therefore the minus is the approach, the operation here. So now let's like a minus for the every equations. So for the x term, we have to 9x minus 4x, it's equals to 5x. For y terms, b equals to 6y minus 6y equals to 0. So the balance number is 48 minus 28 equals to 20. So we have the 5x and 20 only. So now divide the both side by 5. So if we divide the both side 5 5s, you also divide by 5. It's become the x equals to 4. So the final, we found the price of the notebook. Okay, so this is a one price of the notebook.
Excellent. We have successfully found one of the unknown is x equal to 4. But let's remember our original problem. We were asked to find price of the one notebook and also one pen. So our work is not finished yet. We still need to find the y. One way to do this is to substitute our value of x into the original equation. Okay, now x, I mean 3x plus 2y equals to 16. So replace the x with 4 to get 3 4 plus 2y equals to 16. Now 3 times 4 is equal to 12. So 12 plus 2y is equal to 16. So isolate 2y, we subtract 12 from the both sides. 2y is equal to 4. Then divide both sides by 2. Y equals to 2. So now we have x equal to 4 and y equals to 2.
Okay, let's have a short peer discussion before we verify our answer. Okay, imagine you are discussing the problem with a partner. So I want to discuss these questions. Why are the most important to explain x equals to 4 and y equals to 2? Mean, instead of the simplify writing the two values, one possible response is because x and y represent real quantities in the problem. So this is the answer for the mathematicals should be connected back to the original contents. So this is particularly important when solving the real life situations. Now let's make sure that our answer is actually correct. We found x equals to 4 and y equals to 2. And let's substitute this value into the first equation is 3x plus 2y equals to 16. So after substitute 3 bracket 4 plus 2 bracket 2. So equals to 16. So when we calculate these questions, it becomes the 12 plus 4 equals to 6. So 16 equals to 16. So first the equation is 35.
Let's take the final minute to summarize what we learned today. When we solve a real-life simultaneous equation problem, we can follow this step. First, identify the unknown quantities. Second, define the variable. Third, form two equations. Fourth, make the coefficients of one variable. Fifth, eliminate one variable. Sixth, solve for the remaining variable. 7. Substitute to find the second variable. And finally, interpret and verify the answer.
And remember, today's lesson was not just memorizing the elimination procedure, and we also start with the real life situation involving the notebooks and pens, and we also identify what we know the unknowns, and we translate the information into the equations. Then we use the elimination solve the proceed the equations, and we return the to real life situation to explain what our answer mean.
Thank you everyone for your participate today. We hope you now understand not only to solve the simultaneous equation, but also why they are useful in the real life situation. Thank you. See you in next class.